Okay. So we start with paying homage to the Buddha. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Okay, this right. Last week we were looking at the foundation information for contemplation of feeling. So this week we are going to look into the particular sutta, no, related to contemplation of feeling, given by the Buddha spoke the sutta in a no in Buddha's time. Even in Buddha's time, there was an what you call an infirmary or a sick ward for the monks. So usually, what Buddha did was when he was in the area or in the monastery, usually the monastery bhikkhus or bhikkhunis, they spend some time after their pindapat, the morning alms round. They would take a little bit of rest and then they would seclude themselves in meditation. And after they come out of the meditation, usually in the late afternoon, they would go and visit the sick monks or sick nuns. And the Buddha usually did that to give an example, to the rest of the bhikkhus, monastics that, as monastics have left home, they have no one to look after them. So the Sangha brothers and sisters have to look after one another. But more than that, I think Buddha, the patients, together with those who were looking after the patients at that time, were also learning and practicing meditation. So the Buddha usually went there. When he went there, not just to visit the monks and ask them how they were, but actually to give them inspiring Dhamma talk, and then increase their understanding of Dhamma and on how to contemplate, to develop themselves spiritually to achieve awakening. So this is one of the sutta spoken by the Buddha to the sick monks and those attending the sick monks in the infirmary. So this was spoken when the Buddha was in Vesali. No, it's an area in India where you could still visit. This is one of the excavation sites of Vesali where the Buddha used to visit, and taught Dhamma and spent his vasa sometimes there. And in this sutta, after the Buddha said, no, after he emerged from his seclusion, that means he meditated, spent some time meditating and enjoying Nibbana, sessions of Nibbana. So after he came out of his seclusion, he went to the sick ward. And usually a place was prepared for him, and he would sit down there and give a Dhamma talk to inspire the monks, both the sick and the healthy monks there, on how to make progress in the cultivation of the mind. So in this particular sutta, the Buddha was talking about the contemplation of feelings for those who were sick. And Buddha started with saying that a bhikkhu should await his time, mindful and clearly comprehending. This is an instruction to you. So here we have to analyze, a little bit of what he meant by await his time. Different translators translate this particular part of the phrase differently. Some translate it literally, that means await his time. Some put in their interpretation of what awake this time mean, because since this was a sequel, automatically, I think some translators just added the understanding that maybe waiting out his time to the end of his time. So it's not necessarily so, but could mean so. Huh? So whatever it is, we spend whatever time we have. The Buddha said, mindful. This is an important part. This is the practicing part. Mindful and clearly comprehending. Okay. So what is meant by mindful? What is meant by clearly comprehending? The Buddha will explain. And how bhikkhus is a bhikkhu mindful? So how are we to practice mindfulness? The Buddha instructed, here bhikkhus, a bhikkhu dwells contemplating the body in the body, ardent, clearly comprehending, mindful, having or putting away covetousness and displeasure in regard to the world. Let us understand what is meant by contemplating body in the body. So when you are contemplating body, it means you could contemplate your breath. There are several exercises in contemplating body. These include meditating or mindful of the breath. This is one of them. Or mindful of the 32 parts of the body, contemplating the 32 parts of the body, or what is meant by contemplating the 32 parts of the body? Actually, it describes just the organs bound by the skin, from head to toe. So the Buddha was pointing to out, even during his time, he pointed out that there was 31 organs in the body, including the skin. And another part is contemplating the bodily elements, the 4 primary elements that make up what you call material. And then you have a contemplation of the cemetery also, on when various stages of decomposition of the body. So when this instruction on contemplating a body in the body means if you are practicing mindfulness of the breath, then you attend to the breath and you don't attend to the feeling, you don't attend to other things. I mean, there is a particular subject that you contemplate on and you bring the mind to it. How do you bring the mind to it? Here it means ardent. You apply effort. It doesn't mean that, when you put your mind on the breath, the mind will stay on the breath automatically and would not move away. As you know, when you practice mindfulness of breathing, the mind does wander away. So you apply the effort. Wander away to where? Wander away to seek sensual pleasure. Wander away to seek resting, sloth and torpor and all these sort of negative mental states arise, and you attend to them. And the ardent here means you apply the effort to drop whatever unwholesome mental states that arise. So when you are contemplating your breath and suddenly, you have a desire for ice cream. So where is your mind at that time? Your mind is no longer on the breath. Your mind is on the craving for ice cream. So this takes your mind away, and then not only craving on the ice cream, you start to make up story on the ice cream, what type of flavor of ice cream you are going to get, and from which shop you are going to get, and how you are going to get. So if you are not careful, the mind the mind goes on the journey. So ardent mean you apply when you discover that the mind is taking leave of the your subject of meditation, you apply effort to bring it back. And if there is craving for ice cream, you apply the effort to abandon that craving. So the simplest way is to just bring the mind back to the breath, and not be upset with yourself that, I'm practicing mindfulness of breathing and I have allowed my mind to wander away. So when you are getting upset like this, you are multiplying hindrances to your meditation. So you should you should be just happy to use, now, the mind has wandered away, time to bring it back. So you just bring it back to your breath. Okay. So every time it goes away, you make an effort to, but how do you know where the mind has gone to? You have to be mindful, And if the mind goes away, you have to know whether it is going away in a no in a way that helps you with your meditation object, or does it actually take away, your meditation object? For instance, when see, if the mind wanders away to ice cream, definitely that is not no, and you allow the mind to do, definitely that is not right. No, that is not that is not done with clear comprehension. So on clearly comprehending, there is a bigger passage on that. So we'll not go into this now. And when the mind, so I'll go on towards the rest of the passage. Having put away covetousness, or putting away covetousness and displeasure in regard to the world. What is in regard to the world? Outside any, we have discussed about sense and the sense objects and all this sort of thing, and what the world means. So covetousness means greed, attachment for sensual pleasure. Displeasure means aversion or dislike. And it refers to the major obstacles major obstacles in terms of mental states that obstruct the progress in your meditation. Technically, we call it mental hindrances. This includes sensual pleasure, aversion, or ill will. Now, thoughts of ill will arise and you attend to it, and that's wrong. Ill will, sloth and torpor, remorse and restlessness, and doubt. So these are the major obstructions or obstacles to progress in meditation. So how do you get rid of them while you're practicing mindfulness? So long as the mind wanders off to these unwholesome mental states, you apply to effort to bring it back. So not forcefully bring it back, just aware that it has wandered off the target. So be happy to yourself that, you have actually detected that the mind has wandered off. No, without detecting it, you can't bring it back. So having detected it, you just say, okay, I'm just going to bring it back. It goes out again, you bring it back again. It goes out again, you just keep bringing it back. So without getting upset. So in time, when you keep training yourself like that, the mind would be more tame, would stay with the object of your mindfulness. So this is the meaning, So that means when you are practicing mindfulness of breath, let the mind stay with the breath. When you are practicing mindfulness of element, let the mind stay with the element. So not wander from contemplating body to contemplating other thing, mixing it up until you are not, Yeah. Mixing it up is a little bit difficult to calm the mind. So what is the next practice of mindfulness? Here it says, it dwells contemplating feelings in feelings, mind in mind, and phenomena in phenomena. What are these? Feelings in feeling, the feeling as the basic feeling that we contemplate on is pleasant feeling, unpleasant feeling, or neutral feeling, neither pleasant nor painful. So these are the basic types of the feeling that you can contemplate, or you can um, contemplate the the pleasant feeling at the various sense doors, or you can contemplate feelings regarding sense pleasures or regarding other types of feelings, regarding no pleasant feeling in jhana, or what you call exalted mental states. Now, there are various types of feelings, but basically, there would be just this pleasant, unpleasant, and neither pleasant nor unpleasant. Mind in mind is contemplating the states of mind. What states of mind are we contemplating? Greedy mind, angry mind, or a mind with ill will, or a mind that is deluded, or a mind that is jealous, a mind that is filled with loving kindness or compassion. The different types of mental states. A mind that is confused, a mind that is mindful, a mind that is filled with faith, a mind that is filled with joy, a mind that is filled with wisdom. So these are the various states of a mind that one can contemplate on. Phenomena in phenomena means, for instance, contemplate the five aggregates that make up the mind and body. There's contemplate the body, contemplate the feeling, contemplate the feeling aggregate, contemplate the perception aggregate, contemplate the volitional formation aggregate, and contemplate the consciousness aggregate. And contemplate the Four Noble Truths, contemplate the enlightenment factors. These all come under phenomena. So clearly comprehending, again, the same, you contemplate practice mindfulness in the same way with effort, with comprehension. As you apply the mind to the object, so long as your mind is on the object, there will be no sensual pleasure or no other negative mental states present. So it is so once your mind is lured away to other to seek sensual pleasures, then that craving for sensual pleasures becomes an obstruction to your meditation. So that happens when your mind is drawn away by mental states such as craving. So I mean, when Buddha says practice mindfulness, it means mindfulness of the four, establishing mindfulness in the four domains: body, feeling, mind, and phenomena. That is what is meant by practicing mindfulness. And the way it is defined here, it is actually practicing samasati, right mindfulness, in one of the factors of the Noble Eightfold Path. Okay. And how bhikkhus does a bhikkhu exercise clear comprehension. Okay, now the Buddha explains what is meant by, oh, you practice mindfulness, but how do you practice? Practice it with clear comprehension. Practice it with effort, practice it with clear comprehension. And what is meant by practicing it with clear comprehension? Listen, in everyday activity, when you are doing, when you are in meditation retreat, for instance, and you are doing walking meditation, for instance, you go forward and you turn around, you look ahead or you look aside, or you draw out and extend the limbs, or draw in and extend the limbs. Or when you are eating, drinking, tasting, defecating or urinating, walking, standing, sitting, falling asleep, waking up. I think falling asleep is a little bit difficult. Falling asleep, you can be mindful that you are falling asleep. Once you are asleep, I think maybe mindfulness is a little bit difficult to maintain. Waking up, speaking and keeping silent, all this, everyday activity, we have to be aware of them. Of course, being aware of them is one thing. But do we understand why we are doing this and how this is being done? So clear comprehension means know what we are doing, how it is being done, and why, So it covers, like for instance, explain further, Yeah. Going forward and returning, when we are walking, we should be mindful of the mind and the body. So often we say, I'm walking. So there is the emphasis, the focus is on the I, carrying out the activity. So when you are actually clearly comprehending, you will find, we act with clear comprehension, you will find that without the intention to walk, the body doesn't move. See, you can instruct your son, pick up that toy, right? But if your son has no intention of picking up that toy, even though you instruct him to, would he pick it up? No. So he has to have the intention. Then the body will move. The same also, So, I mean, where does that intention come from? The intention is a mental thing. Can the intention pick up the tool, the toy? You have the intention to pick up the toy. If the body doesn't move to do so, can there be any action on picking up the toy? No. So the body, walking involves intention. And it is said, that once there is intention arising in a person, then that intention rouses up the energy that makes the body move according to what the intention wants. So while you are walking, for instance, so you can also look at the 4 elemental changes. What are the 4 elemental changes? Fire element, okay, wind element, earth element, and earth, water element. Earth element, water element, wind element, and fire element, the 4, no? Okay, so when you lift when you lift, now if you walk, pay attention to the walking or extension of an arm or whatever it is, you stretch when you lift. When you walk, for instance, you look at the thing, when you walk, you have to, there is some pushing involved. So in pushing, what are you observing? In lifting, what are you observing? Right? And in bringing it forward, what are you observing? Are you aware? No, in landing it, what are you observing? Okay. So here, there is an intention to walk. So intention to walk brings the body, the foot up, the heel up. So there is a pushing. So this is example of one part of the body movement, right? One section of the movement. It can be a very big section already because it involves a lot of movement of the muscles already. So in this position, from A to B to this position, is this body the same as this body? Tell me. It's not the same, right? You can, okay, you can say that, I want to bring my body back to the original position here. So you walk back to this original position. Is it still the same body? No, even though you think that it is this different body already, right? So what does it, when you keep understanding, when you keep seeing the change, when you keep seeing it, the change, you will realize the change. You will see the change, that this body is not the same body. So if in this position you claim that this is I, in this position you also claim that this is I. So which exactly is I? Right? Which exactly is I? In this position, what were you feeling? In this position, what were you feeling? In this position, what were you feeling? Bodily change, body, physical change, feeling change, perception change, intention change. See, if you don't have intention to lift, would the foot be lifted? No. So which is this body ever the same? Every moment, every minute moment that you are aware of, is this body ever the same? It's never the same, isn't it? If it is never the same, how could we make a claim? Okay, so that means in everyday activity, we learn to see change. We learn to see impermanence, we learn to see change. And that this change is brought about by conditions. Action is brought about by conditions. Okay, that clearly comprehending means clearly. So when we see this, we are not deluded with I, with mind, with self. All right. When looking ahead and looking aside, when drawing in and extending the limbs, do we ever check ourselves when we look this way or that way, what is the purpose, And is it suitable resort? Are we in an area that is suitable for whatever we are doing? Are we deluded or not deluded? Deluded or not deluded? So when we are deluded, we think there is always an I, a self, a mind, But when we are as a, when you turn your eye this way or that way, you look this way or that way, what is your intention? If you are practicing mindfulness, each little movement, we move to check the purpose, whether it helps with my mindfulness practice, whether it is suitable for my mindfulness practice, and wherever you are, whether it is suitable for my mindfulness practice. And when I'm doing this or that, every little movement, am I deluded or not deluded? With the sense of I, mine, and self. So when we are doing walking meditation, for instance, we should be mindfully aware of the if you're looking at elemental changes, you should look at the mind should be on the elemental changes. The change from let's say fire element, you are looking at fire element quality. So it would be the change from heat to cold or cold to heat. If you are looking at the earth element to quality, you'll be looking at solidity to softness. And if you are looking at the motion, or air element, you'll be looking at expansion, contraction. And if you are looking at the water element, you'll be looking at the fluidity quality, no? To see the change. But no, in every movement, we should understand whether we do it with a particular purpose that the purpose here that serves the purpose. What is our purpose? To be mindful of our meditation object. When you walk, often you see, when we're sitting in meditation, for instance, if we are practicing mindfulness of breath, and so when someone come in and or the person sitting next to you, was shuffling here and shuffling there and making sort of noise, and usually, in a place, usually, the person will get very upset. Why is this person making so much noise? In fact, in fact, when you are doing that, blaming other people, you are already, losing your practice over the clear comprehension. You should attend to your object. Shuffling, the person next to you shuffling here and shuffling there, of course it makes noise, So you should be just knowing that you are hearing and should not, and for that moment, you can, when you understand that there is hearing, so you just, okay, you bring your mind back to your breath, and just focus on your breath. So when your concentration is very high, the mindfulness is very sharp and the concentration is very high, then whatever other people around you do would not disturb you. but it is, so when, so suitability, for instance, is, whether it is, so let's say, for instance, you practice meditation and then you purposely choose a place, unless you are a very good meditator. If you choose a noisy place to do, it might not be very suitable. But for a very practiced meditator, the noise would not disturb this person. So suitability, the resort, whether you are in the right place, location, and so on, whether you are tending to the right things. So every movement that we do, whether when extending our arm, or limbs and drawing them in, be aware of the elemental changes. If you are contemplating on the elements, or you can be aware of the mind, the intention, and the movement of the body. So then you see the relation between intention and body and the outcome, the action. And it is the body that performs action, but it is the mind with the intention that is the cause. So when wearing robes and carrying outer robe and ball, for this one is for monastic, but for lay person also they can do reflection like this. So what do we use the robes for? To protect us from inclemencies of weather, and also to protect us from anything, just as a protection, as a form of protection, not for beauty, not for vanity, right? So what happened, if you use this with for different purpose, how complicated your life would be. And that's why, for monastics, they have these basic requisites. So when they are contented with these basic requisites, they are not disturbed by a lot of things that the lay people in the world, are disturbed by. But I think lay people can practice this also, and then the world would be a much cleaner, simpler place. So when eating and drinking and chewing is food and tasting, when defecating and urinating, so all this has to be done with a clear comprehension. For instance, when we are eating, let's say when we are going to a meal, right? So let's say the food is already on the table. There are different kinds of food, right? Different dishes, for instance. So how do you practice mindfulness with comprehension? Say you are very hungry, Let's say you are very hungry. So you zoom in immediately, you zoom in for something that catch your eyes. What is it that catch your eye depends on the person, what they like and what they don't like. It could be the color, it could be the smell, it could be the texture, For instance, if Sister Wong is very attracted by something that is fried, crispy, so immediately the eye would zoom into something that is crispy. Oh, so nice, And then you watch your mind. What arises in that? Greed, or no, you may be attending to the pleasure, something I like is there, So you're very much aware of the pleasure. But what is underlying the pleasure? When you are doing things with mindfulness, That is what you're supposed to do. Understand, clearly comprehending. Oh, I'm very happy. This pleasant feeling comes from my eye in contact with something that I perceive to be, really my favorite. And then, well, right? Sense and sense contact, right? Attracted to something that is pleasant or contact with something that is pleasant, pleasant feeling arises. Okay? Dependently arising.
Venerable,
Then,
Venerable, can we say that we are watching the cause and conditions before we take our food? Is
it
it?
doesn't matter what you are watching. You can watch for cause and condition. You can watch for sense restraint. As long as you are mindful of what it is that is pleasant, you know. And then when there's no sense and sense contact, and then pleasant feeling arises, what is underlying the pleasant feeling? So the craving for it, no, would would uh, would arise, and you start to think, the person in front of you is so slow. Please move quickly. I'm so hungry. Why are you so slow? You see, from craving to aversion, from pleasant feeling changes. Keep observing all this, whatever that is processes in, that. So what do you do to get out of this cycle of production of suffering? What do you do? Come back to your senses, come back to your meditation object. So when aversion, getting upset with somebody in front so slow, no? Oh, this is it's not good for me. No, I'm suffering. So you're aware that you are suffering. All this is because of this and this and this, no? It's not because of the person in front of me. And then you go back to contemplating your breath or contemplating, whatever it is. Okay, so let's say you arrive at the table. It's your turn to pick up the food. Again, similar process may arise. So you can check yourself again. Usually, when you are very hungry, you take a lot, and then when you go back to your table, oh dear. So the Chinese used to say your eyes are bigger than your stomach. Right? So every little thing, no, when you are chewing, when you put, because you are very hungry, for instance, so you put a very big spoonful into your mouth. So you chew and swallow very quickly. So quickly that you don't realize what you are eating, You understand that? So mindful is when you put, okay, mindful, mindfully you stretch out your arm or your hand with the spoon and no, take the rice and take the food, and then mindful how the bodily movement, the muscle movement, that bring the food to your mouth, and what is the sensation when you put the mouth in when you put the food in your mouth. The first sensation, for instance, for some may be hot, temperature hot, you know okay, or it can be cold. In winter, the foods will be cold. Oh, no. So what is that sensation? What type of feeling that comes about with that sensation? So every little activity you try to see Dhamma in it. So that is clearly comprehending. So that's why you see, people in meditation, they eat very, very slowly. And when they eat very slowly, because they know exactly what they're eating and what they're tasting, and and they know when they are full. When we are very hungry, for instance, we eat and eat and eat and eat until we are so full, and then we some overfill ourselves. It happened on, doesn't it? Okay. When walking, standing, sitting, no, be aware when you're walking and then make use of that movement to deepen your understanding of cause and condition. In that way, your mind is on your body, your mind is on your mind, and you are not, getting yourself involved too much in with the outside thing that distract you. That's why 4 foundations of mindfulness, sometimes, but the Buddha described it as your own island. Stay in your own island. Stay in your own island means stay with these 4 foundations. So you'll be safe. So when you are safe, other people are safe from you too. Quite natural, isn't it? When you are a nasty, angry person, nobody is safe from you. Right? Okay. So when eating, usually, it also helps us to reflect. So when we use our clothes, or we reflect on what is the purpose. What is the purpose? The purpose for these robes and clothes is to protect our body. It's not for vanity. It's not for beauty. It's not for this or that. Food too is to maintain the health. Purpose is to maintain the health. It's not for beauty or for whatever it is. And even the house or lodging, well, if it is leaking, it is not protective, isn't it? So I have to do something to make it protective. So lodging is also for protection. The house that we live in and all this sort of thing. Amenities are there for the health and all this. And I don't know about people wanting a golden toilet, even aeroplane, they equip it with golden toilet, gold toilet, gold plated toilet. Or is that does it help with the health? Is it in so we consider the things that we use is for maintenance of health, protection of the body and mind. For what purpose? For the cultivation of the mind, to be good, to avoid evil, to awaken to the truth. Yeah. So food, clothes, lodging, and medicines. Why do we take medicines? Again, is to maintain the health of mind and body. For what purpose? To avoid doing evil, to do good, and to cultivate the mind, to awaken, to gain awakening. So up to this point, anybody wants to make any comment or question or not? So clear comprehension here means in whatever movement that is made with a particular purpose, and good purpose, not bad purpose, that helps you with your meditation, mental cultivation. Comprehension of suitability of the movement, right? Whether it helps you with the meditation or not help you with the meditation, depends also sometime on what purpose, on the purpose of that particular activity. Comprehension of the result, the right place or not. Is it the right place or not for you, to do your spiritual practice or particular work activity? And clear comprehension of non-delusion is that each movement is done clearly understanding that this movement is produced by cause and condition. There is action, and being a phenomenon that arises from causes and conditions, it changes because causes and conditions change. So there is the dukkha part. And that because it arises out of causes and conditions, there is actually no one in control. So there is no self. I think the walking exercise, actually is also very good in showing this, or looking at the elemental changes also. So mindfulness, the four foundations of mindfulness are practiced, with this clear comprehension. And then another definition of clear comprehension is when we are doing sitting and concentration is very high. We apply them, to observing feelings as they arise and as they pass away. Thoughts as they arise and pass away. So this is looking at anicca, dukkha, anatta, no? And looking at perceptions, not only looking, but understanding through seeing directly feelings or thoughts or perceptions as they arise and pass away. And when we understand this, we really understand what is meant by anicca or impermanent. So this one is in when we are doing a deeper part of our mental cultivation. So far, any comments or any questions that you want to okay. Okay, yes.
Hey, when you say the four elements that we have, we can focus on, I don't understand about for the water one.
Oh, the water one is fluidity, fluidity. Like for instance, sometimes when the easy way that people do with the water element is to look at the sweat or the saliva.
Oh. And the fluidity and what?
Fluidity, that like the flow.
Oh, okay. So it's stiff or it's flow?
Oh, I suppose, it's have to do with like for instance, people more looking at the quality is actually water quality, fluidity is very difficult to describe, but you can perceive, right?
Mm-mm.
Huh?
Mm.
Have to be experienced. Look at the fluidity. But
Yeah.
the heat, the fire element is, I find it easier no
Yeah.
to
No,
detect.
the rest I found that is have polarity, but
Uh,
water I don't feel another side of it, like to compare.
oh, usually people look at the stickiness,
Mm.
stickiness. Like for
Mm.
instance,
Like
like the dryness to, like usually in sutta they describe it like this. You take flour, it's very dry. No, there is no. So when you add water to it, so the texture change to become more sticky, more cohesive. It's cohesiveness. So you can use the cohesiveness as a way of looking at the water element also. Cohesiveness. Anyone else want to make any comment? You can make comment. You don't necessarily have to make question, ask question. You can comment on what you think or what your experience is, right? Lawrence? Oh, okay. Please sit down. We can see your
Yeah.
head.
Okay. Just want to share. Yesterday I went to the no, yeah, on it should be Sunday. Yeah. When I went to a temple,
Yesterday is Monday.
Monday, and it should be Sunday. All right. Then I went to a temple to have lunch. Then what I want to share is there's a group of these monks, because I went during 12 o'clock. And this group of monks, is also their lunchtime. But behind of this group of monks is lay people. Then I can see that the monk, because of they are very well disciplined. When there's a gong, then they will start to eat, and they are very mindfulness in eating. But the group of these lay person, they will just eat and then they gossip and then they just chit chat, right? So I observe it. Then I see that, wow. Now I usually last time when I went over to this place for lunch, I don't notice all these kind of differences. But this time I can see that when you can see that the people what do you mean by mindfulness and non-mindfulness is so obvious, you know. So then I think back, so just now, Bhikkhuni, you mentioned about, eat mindfulness, I think it's also depends on the environment. If you are eating with your friends or or maybe even your family, to eat mindfulness and compare to when you are eating during the retreat, I think it's so much different. It's very difficult. I mean, it's so easier to comprehend what you say, that eat mindfulness. I think during retreat it's easier to understand.
I suppose there is also, I suppose in lay life,
Yeah.
the emphasis is on happiness from sensual pleasures,
Yeah. Yes.
right?
Yes. Yeah.
And most people understand sensual pleasures to be the only type of happiness that they know. But if you have already experienced the type of happiness that you get, from eating mindfully or from eating mindfully, you would want to have more of this. And if you want to have more of this and you know it is beneficial, would you not want to introduce to your family members so that they too know a type of happiness that is higher, that is more satisfactory? It's not that it's so we all if we this is speaking not from a monastic's point of view, but just mainly from the point of view that if you know something better, wouldn't you want to introduce it to your friends and family?
Of course. But when it comes to eating, you want them to chew and mindfully in eating. I think it's not easy unless they
I
have the
know
same
it's not easy.
interest. They have the interest to say that, okay, we want to do some practical training in mindfulness in eating. Then maybe. But in a normal occasion, I don't think they will listen to what you say.
No, I know. That's. I mean, of course, you see, in the lay world, in the lay world, the focus is on happiness from sensual pleasures.
Yeah,
Because
yes,
they do
yes.
not. Most people have not really experienced the peaceful type of the happiness that comes from peace.
Yeah,
State.
correct. Yes.
Yeah.
But for me, I do understand what Bhikkhuni, what you are saying. Another one is for me to chew slowly, and this also helped me to train myself that not to be too greediness. Because sometimes when you see the food is very delicious, I think you chew 5 times and you quickly swallow because you want to have another mouth again.
See the greediness. You
Yes.
see,
So
it doesn't bring us any benefit, But we continue to do it just because we want to gratify the senses. And at the
because
end,
no one guide us, you see, usually. Now, after hearing from you, then I do some practical practice. I do understand actually it has a lot of benefit behind, yet for
it
you
does.
to discover.
Like for instance, that's why during festive occasions, now people want to make the firecracker and all these fantastic display of fireworks or nowadays, different thing. They are all happiness from sensual type of sensual kinds, very the excitement kind, and you come away from that type of experience quite exhausted.
Yeah.
Instead of the peace and calm and contentedness you get from from doing things with clear comprehension. But I know I suppose that is the difference between uh, so sometimes in the lay world because the focus is on sensual pleasures. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You're right.
Happiness from sensual pleasures. That's why, is the more of this type of pleasures you experience, the more tired you get. The more tired you get, the more you want to relieve yourself from that tiredness, from more sensual pleasure. Look at where you are. You end up with you know, you put yourself in, yes, that in a trap that you cannot get out of. Actually, we understand what is going on, but so now it's a matter of whether you can get yourself out of this trap. And
But
whether you want to.
but actually, just now I show you, I brought out this example of the monks, eating and with the lay people. You can realize that the lay people, they don't even be so alert that there is a group of monks having lunch with you, and they are so disciplined. When they eat so mindfulness, they are so quiet and enjoy their food. But we are chatting, looking at the handphone while we're eating, all kind of thing, and gossiping, all this stuff. But they don't observe, you see that like that group of a monk, they eat so mindfulness. They don't say why come the monk cannot talk while eating. This type of question don't even come out to their mind, honestly.
Okay, so
uh,
we proceed to anyone else want to make any comment? Florence or Len or Sister Wong? So if not, okay, Florence?
Just want to add something. If people wanted more spiritual life, they would ask them some question, but we are far away from that. sadly.
Yeah.
We are
Slowly,
not-
slowly.
Yes,
Yeah.
slowly and little, but yes, but yeah. When I went back in France, I can see myself really in another world than even my friend and family. So yes, the only question is about money, and stuff, and yes, not spiritual life, not at all.
So when you see that, how did you feel? Or when you saw that, how did you feel?
Mixed feeling, like sad because the world is going bad, and so some at some point not hopeless, but what can I do for that? It's a drop in the ocean. But yes, I try to at least with my children, I succeed in their questioning of life. At least one of two.
Yes. Yes.
It
Difficult,
was
but
my oldest son is money, and my second is EP-minded, like ecology and water saving and this kind of thing. So better, in my better, on the right way for me.
yes.
But it's difficult when you are living in Western countries we are no more, especially in France, because the religion is out of the society, I don't know, the politics. You know, in France, used to be Catholic country, but it's no in the daily life. Is no religion involved in the life. No, nothing. So we are used not to think about spiritual life because it's our story, and it's values are going down, and yes, everything is falling apart. So I prefer to live in Thailand because you can feel the values between people, the respect, and the spiritual is really important in daily life here. So yes,
Yeah. Spiritual in the sense that no,
different.
everybody is aware that they have to take care of the mind and body themselves, and in taking care of our mind and body, then we also take care of other people, in the sense that when we take care of our mind and body, we are a better person. Being a better person, we are a safer person to be around by, to safer person for people around us.
Hope so.
Yeah. Then Nui, you want to share what your experience or anything like that? Or about Sister Wong? Okay. If there is none, we spend the next few minutes on at least one feeling, the pleasant feeling. Okay. So now that we know how to practice mindfulness, that is practice mindfulness, on body, feeling, mind, and on phenomena. How? With effort, with clear comprehension, with mindfulness. And that when we are mindful, when the mind is on the object of contemplation, other things don't come into the mind. Other things or distractions like the attachment, aversion, or ill will, they don't come into the mind. When, for instance, the mind is on the breath, aversion doesn't arise. Attachment doesn't arise. Only when, you know, we are not mindful, when there's lapse in mindfulness, so the bell of the ice cream seller then, you know, become a problem. Otherwise, if the mind is on the breath, the mind of ice cream seller or somebody, you know, making noise beside you would not make a difference. So now we go to the next paragraph on attending to pleasant feeling. So, bhikkhus, while a bhikkhu dwells thus, mindful, clearly comprehending, diligent, ardent, and resolute. Now, you know, this is a little bit different from the earlier one. The earlier one said that ardent, clearly comprehending, mindful, and putting away lust and aversion or ill will. Here it includes, now that he has explained what four foundations of mindfulness are and how they are practiced, is that he added another one, diligent and resolute. No, ardent means you practice with effort to burn up the negative mental states. Diligent, you continue to apply that effort and you don't give up. No, resolute here is with reference to the goal of your meditation. So why do you want to cultivate the mind? Cultivate the mind for peace, for wisdom, for awakening. So this one is aim, resolute, mean you resolve on attaining the goal of your spiritual cultivation. So that now this is a heightened type of, a literal heightened level, no, of practice. So we practice the mindfulness like this, no? And if there arises in him a pleasant feeling, he understands thus. So there has arisen in me a pleasant feeling. Okay, when you sit in meditation, mindfulness of feeling, then you notice that there is a pleasant feeling. No, we don't start to enjoy it and crave for more of this pleasant feeling. Just mindful that there has arisen a pleasant feeling. How does this? And then we look at the pleasant feeling, no, closely, and see that it is dependent. It doesn't just come about by itself. It comes about with conditions. Dependent on what? Dependent on this very body. If you don't have this body, do you have a bodily pleasant feeling? So there has to be a body. But this body, too, is impermanent. We have talked about, you know, how impermanent that body is, isn't it? See, the body, material part of the body itself changes moment to moment, no? And the mental part changes moment to moment. The mental part consists of what? Consists of feeling, consists of perception, consists of intentions and no, other mental states, and consists of consciousness. All these are changing moment to moment. So they are impermanent. Then why do they change? Because the conditions change. Now, you know, this moment, you may be looking at the screen. Which part of the screen are you looking at? So if I use the cursor to point here, all of you will be looking at that part, isn't it? And if I move the cursor and emphasize a particular part, then probably, you know, instead of seeing consciousness, your attention will be diverted to hearing consciousness. When like for instance, when we experience a particular, when we explain a particular term, for instance, no, resolute, then this is not given in this passage. So you would then, instead of looking, the attention would be directed towards hearing, isn't it? At hearing the explanation. So the whole five aggregates change. Right? These 5 aggregates that make up the body and mind. Huh? So the body change, the mind changes, moment to moment, dependent on conditions. So they are conditioned. They are dependently a reason. So when the pleasant feeling that has a reason, independence on the body that is impermanent, condition, dependently a reason, how could this pleasant feeling be permanent? Okay? When you practice looking at the body, either by walking meditation or by the 4 elements or and you look at the mind, you look at the feeling or the intention or the attention or the perception or the consciousness, you notice that from moment to moment, the body changes, the mind changes, feeling changes. So they are impermanent. The body changes. See, feeling is dependent on the body. The body changes. So does the feeling. Right? So, again, explaining this a little bit more. A pleasant feeling has a reason in me. It is dependent. Dependent on what? On this very body. This body is impermanent. Feeling dependent on the body too is impermanent. So in mindfulness practice, does a particular feeling remains all the time? It doesn't, isn't it? You experience a pleasant feeling, on seeing, let's say you are at the dinner table, you see the crispy, I suppose, a crispy potato that you like. So you have pleasant feeling, right? And you so obviously you go and take it and put it in your mouth. And it happened to be too salty for you. Unpleasant feeling, right? On tasting the salt. But when the salt, the saltiness changes or not? It changes, isn't it? So unpleasant feeling changes or not? Changes, isn't it? Right? So usually, so we're mindful that, okay, feeling also changes. Body also changes. Body arises because of karma, arises because of chitta. Chitta means consciousness. Arises because of nutriments and changes because of temperature. Okay? So it changes. And we also see that the feeling itself changes. Dependent on the body. The body changes, the feeling dependent on the body also changes. So both changes, right? Impermanent. So you practice looking at feeling. Impermanence in feeling, impermanence in the body. Especially for a sick person, because the illness affects the body. Here, this particular sutta is very relevant for a sick person. you know, right? A sick person would complain about suffering arising from the body. But this complaint only makes the situation worse for the person, right? So the Buddha advises, mindful of the body. So when there is a burning sensation, mindful of that burning sensation, put the mind there, and the mind will see it change. The sensations change, the textures change. And if feeling is the dominant Dhamma that the mind is aware of, so the mind can be aware of the unpleasant feeling and not let it invade and obsess the mind, in the sense that just like the mind applies itself on the breath, so the mind stays on the feeling and see the change in the feeling. You know, the painful feeling in the beginning, maybe just like pins and dots, and then very quickly intensifies to like a solid mass of heat or whatever it is, you know. But this doesn't stay. It becomes weaker, less intense, and it eventually fades away. And then there rise another wave of painful feeling. So you keep your mind on that and just look at the change. In looking at the change, in examining the change, one will find that that painful feeling does not invade the body and does not invade the mind and obsess the mind. One will see it comes up, intensifies, and fades, and weakens and fades away. So one keeps seeing. So now the patient practices vipassana, you know, contemplating impermanence in the body, arising and passing away of a particular part of the body. You know, for instance, if the pain arises in a particular part of the body, you can pay attention to the bodily changes at that time, or you can pay attention to the feeling that one experiences at that time. Okay, that means observing the change in that particular part of the body, the sensation in the particular part of the body, and also the change in the pleasant feeling in that particular part of the body. So, you know, for the body, for instance, you may see that you may experience particular, you know, from pins and needles to heat or to numbness or whatever it is. You look at the change. Even if it is numbness, the numbness is not going to stay a long time. The heat sensation in that part of the body also changes. So you can also look at the pleasant feeling, or what it, no? If it is, well, I suppose, you know, it is not a painful part of the body. When you experience a pleasant feeling, probably, you know, it's after you take the medicine and there is a pleasant feeling. So you look at that pleasant feeling too, you know, it's changing. So if it is a painful feeling, you look at the sensation of that part of the body and look at and examine the painful feeling that increases in intensity and at first, and then reduces or fades, intensity fades away. And then so here, in contemplating impermanence, you look at the arising, intensification, and then, you know, weakening of the intensification and weakening of the pain or weakening of the pleasantness of the feeling until it fades away. So the arising and the fading away. So later, so this is the vipassana partner. And later, you look at the vanishing of that vanishing part of that pleasant feeling or of that body. So then you contemplate fading away. Fading away of what? Fading away here of when it is related to the mind, it means fading away of the mental defilements, unwholesome mental states. Then you look at the cessation. No? So it comes to a stage where the pleasant feeling ceases. Huh? Or the unpleasant feeling ceases, or the neutral feeling ceases. So you have the cessation of the negative or unwholesome mental states or whatever wholesome mental states. And then you contemplate relinquishment, letting go. Huh? So as it dwells thus, the underlying tendency to lust for the pleasant feeling in regard to the body and the feeling is abandoned in him. So this is actually looking at the whole process from vipassana to awakening to the truth. So vipassana, you keep seeing arising and passing away of the pleasant feeling. No? Let's say it is pleasant feeling you are looking at. It is arising and passing away of the pleasant feeling, arising and passing away of the arising. Then you keep looking at it because you directly see it come up, see it pass away, see it come up, see it pass away. And you see that this coming up and passing away is conditional. It's no one control. You cannot stop it, you know. So you realize that, okay, you know, this is a phenomenon that comes about through conditions. It's not something that is permanent. It's not something that is because it changes, so that is the danger in it. And because it's conditioned, no one in control, and there's no permanent pleasant feeling. That body doesn't remain the same. So when you keep seeing it like this, you then, you know, realize, why am I grasping to something like this? That is not graspable. That is not just coming up and going away, coming up and going away. Just like, you know, you see, you are fascinated by a magician's trick. When you see how the trick is being done, you lose your fascination with that trick. And you're not fascinated by it anymore. In the same way, you're not fascinated by this pleasant feeling anymore. Being not fascinated and actually seeing its danger. You want to turn away from it. You don't want it, you know? That is when the fading of the craving occurs. When craving ceases, no more suffering. And the underlying tendency that gives rise to this craving can be destroyed. So during vipassana, that's why sometimes people temporarily, when you keep seeing painful feeling, let's say, you know, you are looking at painful feeling, and then it rises and passes away. So when it passes away, you get a relief. It comes up again, you know, you feel the pain, and it passes away, you get a relief. So when you see the whole process of this, you see the moment of cessation, you see the moment of peace. So you are not fascinated by it anymore. So temporarily you are. When temporarily you are not troubled by the craving during vipassana. That is temporary abandonment of suffering due to temporary cessation of craving. And you keep practicing this until one day, that abandonment of the craving is permanent. When it happens, you have awakened to the noble class of beings, nobility. So we continue, no? Next week on this sutta. Okay, right? On the rest of the sutta. Next week, the same time, no? The same day, Tuesday, right?
Bhikkhuni,
Yes.
yeah, I have a question. For these particular topics about this impermanence, it's actually training us to banish the craving. My question is, how about when we are suffering on, say, injury? I mean, the injury, so you feel pain.
The same
right?
practice apply.
Yeah.
The same practice apply.
So, theoretically, I more or less can understand, but in practically, how to train myself up? So that
You train with mindfulness first. It's not it's not something that you just you just start to practice and then you can get it, unless you have practiced it for a long time in your previous lives before. So you just have to practice.
Keep
Just
on
like
practice.
to read, we have to learn ABC and the grammar and all this. There is no way, that you can shock. We just have to practice. Just have to practice. And the Buddha said, practice the full mindfulness all day long, on every waking moment.
All right.
Yeah. We don't practice, we don't get there. We practice every moment of practice is every moment of gain.
Okay.
See, the moment you stop lying, the moment you are peaceful. The moment you start lying, the moment you are not peaceful. It's like that. So the moment you are mindful with clear comprehension, that moment you are at peace. So the Buddha said to us, accumulate these moments of peace. Every waking moment. And the Buddha promised in the Satipatthana that, if you can do this mindfulness every waking moment without lapsing, in 7 days, you can become an anagami. So we may not have that amount of energy, that amount of resoluteness and all this sort of thing. But if we don't practice, we don't get anything. We practice one moment, there is one moment of peace. We practice 10 moments, we have 10 moments of peace. The Buddha said in another sutta, Vadakarata Sutta, say, accumulate these moments of peace until one day you become an arahant. Then you have no more work to do. You are always okay.
Yeah, understand. Thank you.
Anyone else? So we continue next week, the same time, if everybody is okay, you turn on your video and we can take a picture, okay, all right. I wait. Florence and Lian Lui, you want to turn on your video? Okay. Waiting for Florence to get her. Okay, we take a picture now. Another one. If you are ready. Hang on a minute. Okay, so we end this session with sharing merits with all sentient beings. Sabbe satta vera huntu, abya paja huntu, aniga huntu, sukhiya tanang pariharantu. May all the merits generated from this Dhamma discussion accrue to all sentient beings, in particular with those who are our departed ones, and all those who have lost their lives innocently in disasters or in war zones, wherever they are. May these merits accrue to all of them to support them in their next journey. May these merits also support the cause of all sentient beings to gain the highest happiness soon. May all beings be freed from suffering. May all beings be freed from grief. May all beings be freed from fear. May all beings become peaceful, contented, happy, and healthy. Dukkha patta chani dukkha, bhaya patta chani bhaya, soka patta chani soka, hontu sabbe pipanino. So, okay, we'll see you next Tuesday, all of them. And next week, I will only organize one session because we are doing the same sutta. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Right.
We'll see
Yeah.
you all.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Bhikkhuni. Thank you.
Okay.
See you all,
Okay.
sister.
Okay.
Yeah.